Can't be helped. We're getting top intel coming in. And so trying to get everything right and post about it so that you will have the information too, because we are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And the people need to know what's going on. And we are being lied to all the time, all the time. And so we are getting the hard evidence and presenting it to you, hard evidence. And so just a lot of information coming in, a lot of confirmations. And, of course, we have been writing, filing for years, filing. There's so much to file, right? There's so much to file because there's so much corruption and bad actors that have no esprit de corps, that have no patriotism. I mean, there's a lot that do, okay, but there's a lot that don't, and you know, uh, those need to be reported. Those need to be reported. I'm very grateful for this woman that came on and commented on the Beware of the Mormon Faction post that I put up. I'm very grateful for her. Um, she has a little bit of a different faith than our family, because she thinks that she has to wait until Jesus comes back before justice happens. And our faith is that Jesus came, and Jesus gave us a mandate to establish justice, okay? To establish his kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. And so that's a little bit different um, than to wait, you know? So that is more of a dispensational kind of theology. We are we're not waiting. We already have the mandate from God, right? To establish justice on earth as it is in heaven. And so, that's why we're going forward with all of our investigation, identifying the crimes, documenting the crimes, and filing the crimes, and demanding that there is investigations, that there's prosecution, that we get accountability for what happened to our son and what happened to us during these 5.5 years now, and what has happened to our military, and what is them targeting our president, who, thank God, is the president now, President Donald Trump. They targeted him. And I'm so happy that he had the happy pin on during during his oil um, presentation with the big oil executives. That was so impressive, and he had the happy Trump on. Yeah, I think he has a. I know that he's says he's not satisfied, but he needs to be happy he's on the right side of this. To When I hear people saying, "Oh my gosh, oil's getting," it's ten cents a barrel, at 10 cents to get oil in a barrel, 10 cents. And, they overcharge us just like they're overcharging, like for credit card usury, right? They're doing 25-30% as high as that, that is highway robbery. That's a crime. That should be a crime, right? In God's book, that's a crime. That should be a crime. So, let's get started. It's very late, and I have so much to tell you. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on so late. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your guardian angel. Thank you for um, just faithfulness, right? Just faithfulness. Um, we have gotten amazing intel. We have confirmation. We have, I mean, hard evidence confirmation that the narcotics database in the United States was breached. Okay, was breached, and intel, the narcotics intel database was breached by the Mexican cartel. Okay, we have hard evidence that, and I kept that label. I kept the same label. One, it's getting so late, right? I didn't want to change things up a little bit, but God is in control, and God wanted that title on today's podcast to stay the same as yesterday, to give it emphasis on how important it is. If you have foreign criminal operators that have breached our intelligence databases, our narcotics intelligence databases, where there's whistleblowers on there, there's informants on there, all the agents are on there, all the ongoing investigations are on there, the ongoing operations, actions are all on there. If you have the very people that you're trying to stop, or if you have a foreign criminal organization breaching your databases, this is a wow. This is a huge. And before that, we knew it was because of all the retaliation that we have received that absolutely confirmed that they had access to databases, that they had access way back. They could go way back, that they had access to these intelligence databases. And so now we have hard evidence to secure our claims. So I just want to make sure everyone knows how important that is, because I think it's uh, being talked about in the intelligence circles, in the um, special forces circles. Um, that is more dangerous to our national security than the criminal trafficking itself, right? Um, because how do you get accountability? How do you stop it? How do you establish the justice? Excuse me, when you have these breaches. So, and I hope I'm not law enforcement, I'm not a lawyer. I just know that when you have intelligence databases, just like bank databases, and all these databases, it was just a matter of time, right, that they get breached. And who's breaching them, right? Are they individuals that are given the trust to have the keys, that have the access to the databases that allow these foreign criminal operators or organizations to breach those databases? And that answer is yes. Okay, because absolutely, this points to Assistant Special Agent in Charge Connell Wetton, and that's not our hard evidence. That's just giving you confirmation of, we already know that he is responsible for leaking the identity of our son, Richard Halliday, to the cartel. We already know that he has a very uh, strong hold to the Mormon colonies in Chihuahua, Mexico, that make him not loyal to the United States, not loyal to Mexico, but to this Mormon faction of in the colonies there in Chihuahua. So I hope that makes sense. Um, that needs to be vetted because um, he absolutely put a target. He's responsible. We've talked about it in our circles, and he really is the one responsible for Richard's death. Now, of course, we have the prime suspect is Dallas Hart in the foul play itself. We have, of course, Tavita Nusa and Lalani Hart. Those are all prime suspects in what happened to Richard. Of course, Danae Katzen, prime suspect, and many others. But when you have security breaches, when you have a whistleblower that is giving, look, if you want to not have your name mentioned, I mean, look at Mitch Snow. He mentioned Richard Halliday on Stu Peters, and I don't think that they're attacking him anymore. Are they attacking him? Are they attacking him? Or ever since he mentioned Richard Halliday's name, have they been frozen? Have they been frozen? I mean, if you look, Richard Halliday's name, they can't even dream about it. They can't even whisper it. They can't even think the name. It gives them shivers. It makes them wet themselves. It, you know, uh, they don't sleep. They can't sleep. It is a haunting for these criminals. Um, and we've seen all that. Okay. We've seen all that. We've witnessed all that. Uh, so this is, indication itself that Richard's case is way bigger than Fast and Furious, um, Iran Contra, bigger than Iran Contra. It's so big. It makes them freeze and run, hide, whatever. They just can't mention Richard's name because then, it just exposes the whole thing. Everything just unravels. I mean, think about the Mayellas, right? Think about the Mayellas. Think about Nadal Baim. Think about all of the connections with Nadal Baim throughout that whole thing. Think about General John Kelly, right, with Alejandra de la Vega, with working for the Chihuahua Mexican governor's office there um, as a foreign agent. Think about that, and profiting handsomely from providing supplies to these unaccompanied children's camps, right? And it's all, these connections are all happening right there with Charlie Kirk's TPUSA, and TPUSA being infiltrated like Fort Bliss was being infiltrated. We know Fort Huachuca was infiltrated with this Mormon faction cartel criminal organization, right? It's and then it expanded out into the funeral business, and also I believe the organ harvesting. So the worst type of crimes against children, and then the organ harvesting, big money there that they were using like military operations for, or just military assets for, right? Or the fuel. And then, yeah, and I can't even forget about the fuel being siphoned. That's coming out. President Trump's are already reporting on that fuel was stolen. Fuel was stolen. It's not a when you have a soldier like Eswick that's in charge of fuel distribution, and he's part of uh, Richard's case in the plot against, to organize something against Richard, right? When he's connected to that, you know, something's up with fuel, right? Something's up with fuel. And don't forget, he is self described. It's hard evidence that he's a stripper. And it is absolutely not a coincidence that the main hub where Leilani Hart, the prime suspect in taking our son's life, is at Dreams Cabaret, a strip joint. So owned by Fong, the Mahia Fong, and then Cesar Duarte's wife's name happens to be the surname happens to be Fong. You know, that's not. um that is, just absolutely there's just so many connections here, so many connections, and we made connections yesterday about this lady, right? This lady, and I don't know if you call her a lady, but this troublemaker that, was, an agitator that was, shot by ICE when she tried to run him over. And it's not like there's just one agitator, one time every so often that these ICE agents have to deal with. This is a organized and it's not me saying it. It's President Trump. That President Trump is saying that Soros is funding the agitators. I believe that their Mormon faction leaders with means are part of this. She was from Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is a big stronghold for this. Uh, you know, um, it when you look at the history and the military history and the connections and the names of Payne and Scott and Foster and 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 even Hart and even Hart come up in her associations. That's not a coincidence, y'all. It's the same group that are causing problems. It's the same group that want violence, and when they are, um, begging for violence, right? I mean, her wife was like saying, come at me," like daring the ICE to get violent with her, like they want some kind of violence, right? It reminded me of being there at January 6th. There were agitators there that I think, and we know now there was like over 300 FBI that were trying to instigate some kind of violence. And the group there at January 6th, all around, I mean, I walked all around and met so many people because I was handing out the prayer candles. I was handing out flyers. I That was what I was there for. I didn't just stand in one place. So I got a very good overview of all the people that were there. I have pictures of that. And I'm going to tell you, they were all amazing people, except for a very few that I think that were there to be agitators, to be troublemakers, to set this up, to create a narrative, right? To create a narrative. And I say that because I was there, because I reported that as I was leaving. We already had that impression and experience there. So, it's the same playbook. It's the same playbook. What's going on in Charlie Kirk's TPUSA? It's not only his death now that they're investigating. They're investigating his TPUSA. What was going on in there? Um, and um, and what connections are there? And so now. Um, it's connecting so much with Richard's case. So Candace has a real problem because, like I was saying, you say Richard's name and everybody shuts down, right? Everybody shuts down. They don't want to say his name. They are totally afraid. So if you're trying to do an investigation on Charlie Kirk and Charlie Kirk's case is connected to Richard Halliday's, be ready for some silence, right? Um, eh, which is, uh, just like, wow. It shocks people. It really shocks people. I mean, we've been doing this for 5.5 years, so I don't, we've been fighting it. We have been every day getting out there, putting Richard's name out there. We're not afraid to say his name. We're not afraid to tell his case. And Mitch Snow was not afraid to tell Richard's case. It was a thing of beauty, absolutely a thing of beauty. And so we'll see what happens with Candace Owens, but I know that there is a connection with the attempts on President Trump's life and Richard's case. And I said that at the when it happened, and people are like looking at me like I'm crazy, talking to people here, saying, "No way, no way, it can't be." And I'm like, I'm not. I don't want it to be. I'm just saying the connections that our investigation is finding is connecting that to this, and it's the same group. And now it's the same group with Charlie Kirk. It's the same group that's causing problems in Mexico. And now we have breaking news. We have a huge breaking news. The U.S. is conducting surveillance flights over Mexico right now. Right now. Because President Trump has told everybody he is going to go after the cartel. And the first thing he did on day one was to designate a lot of them as FTOs. Okay. And now he has designated fentanyl. Am I allowed to say that word? Oh, I don't do monetization because then I don't have so many restrictions. So I think I'm allowed to say that word. Um, and plus, I get bullied or whatever. But it has a bad side. There's a good side about it and a bad side. And the good side is you have less restrictions. You can talk more freely. The bad side is that you're shadow banned more easily. So your channel or your page gets hidden. Your videos get hidden. They don't go up to the front, things like this. So there's good things and bad things about monetization. The money part of it, um, with things coming, um, well, we'll see. We'll see. We um, we have been very. We'll see. Well, I don't want to get. I'm not at liberty to say at the moment, but things are really ramping up, and the word is getting out. And President Trump is our Air Force, under the command of our Commander in Chief, President Trump, is flying over reconnaissance, surveillance over Mexico right now. And that means that actions are coming. And so there's a lot of pressure within the Marina um, party right now, right? That is Claudia Scheinbaum. Claudia Scheinbaum you know, is not running Mexico. It's the cartels. And there's a lot of pressure of the handling of Mexico right now because President Trump is not going to take no for an answer. Destroy the cartel control over Mexico, or I will do it for you, or the United States will do it for you. That is his message because the drug, the F drug, he designated as a weapon of mass destruction. And I appreciate him for many, many different reasons. And one of them is to say, look, if we're going to be a country, we need to be healthy. We need to um, have esprit de corps. We need, meaning America first, right? That we need to be on Team America. We don't need to be a divided country. And when you're healthy, when you're prosperous, um, because there was so much fraud that was stealing from us that we had no chance of being prosperous. When everybody is stealing from you, it reminds you of like that old Walt Disney rendition of Robin Hood, right? With the little uh, bunny family, so poor, not even a farthing. They don't even have a farthing. And they're just being taxed. And, it's like, you can work and work and work. And when you have unjust usury, you can't buy a home. You're always in rent. The car prices are out of sight. I bought my first car for $900, a Toyota Corolla. It lasted so long, I had that car forever. Forever. It was wonderful for $900. No air condition, but that, Texas and no air condition, but I got through it. I just got through it. Opened my windows, but I drove that car for so long, and then Rob drove the car, and then passed it on to another family member. They drove the car. I mean, now, that needs to come back. That ability to own a home, own a car, um, and not be just it's I read a book once called Larceny of the Heart. Just theft, the scammers, like Danae Katzen, um like Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, scam, like what's going on in Minnesota. It just it takes away the ability to be prosperous. It takes away our human rights. So yeah, I do appreciate what President Trump is doing. It's sometimes very hard, because we've been so brainwashed into that we're supposed to take all this, right? Take all this and let people just walk all over us. But what has happened to our son, what has happened to our family, I'm just I try to still stay grounded, very grounded, but I'm not going to let these people walk all over us, right? They need to be held accountable. And if Maduro is stealing our oil, and if no one's going to stop him and let that go on for years and years and let him hurt so many people, I'm glad to see this. And so this leads to the information, the intelligence that we received about the Maduro extraction. The Maduro extraction, what we're hearing, was very unique because our amazing, amazing Special Forces team used a sonic boom weapon. Okay. And that's not a new weapon. That weapon has been around, but they used probably a new and improved one, a new and improved sonic boom. And what that did was it made the guards incapacitated. Well, how do you say that word? Well, they were incapacitated. They had bloody ears. It made their ears bleed. It made them not be able to do anything because they had to throw up. It made them sick to their stomach. They just couldn't function. That's They couldn't function, and it was non-lethal. It was non-lethal, which in any kind of act like that, that's always very appreciative. So the effects are very short term, and then they can be healthy, right? Um, so that's what they use, this sonic boom weapon, to just uh, um, make them incapacitated long enough to extract Maduro, and that's what we are being told that happened, and that's pretty amazing, right? The thing about that is, and this is a very important part about it, is that the cartels don't have the capability to respond to that, to protect themselves from that. They don't have the capability that our military has. And so that sent a huge message to the cartel that they are not prepared, that they don't have the capabilities, even though they've been taking so much of our weapons and everything. Um, but they don't have the capabilities to um, to go up against our military. And that was a great message, and that gives us some esprit de corps, right? That gives us, um, uh, now we need to have the morality for um, the Medal of Honor ethos. That needs to be instilled, which leads to the military police there on Fort Bliss. The military police there on Fort Bliss. It's very interesting because early on we received information that the military police were left out of the investigation. Okay. And that was uh, really good information, very good source. Okay. But the military police on Fort Bliss, and we believe the major possibility, the top of the list for this, is that the JAG was using the military police on Fort Bliss to be um, the propaganda weapon against Richard and our family. That it was the JAG. Okay. And I can tell you this, that I yell out for Richard Halliday anytime I see a soldier. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lainey. Thank you so much. Thank you, Danielle, for coming on. Thank you so much. Um, wow, thank you. I always have that reaction too when I see a soldier. Absolutely. Um, so I can tell you this about the JAG, that in all the meetings, and there was a lot of them, and these were high official high officers, like two generals, and I don't know, lieutenant colonels, and I don't think I ever met Colonel, um what was his name? Gosh, I need to mention him more often because he's big fat on my list. Um, Dauber. Yeah, Colonel Dauber. Just doing this all by memory. But I don't think I ever met Colonel Dauber because they did not let us meet Richard's chain of command. I never met his first sergeants. Can you believe it? In real life, and face to face. Of course, they retaliated against us. Of course, they were the propaganda arm also. They did the propaganda like the MPs. Um, and, and who was leading this? You would think that the generals were leading this, but clearly, the JAG weren't just giving advice, they were absolutely directing everything. It was like the generals were puppets, that whoever led any of those meetings were just puppets to the JAG. So whoever was giving orders to the JAG, right? Because we also have information that JAG was being uh, told what to do from certain individuals. Um, and I'm not at liberty to say more on that, but I'm just saying that, uh, you can blame the generals, which I do. Absolutely. Absolutely. Even Curtis Taylor right now, right? I mean, he's just as guilty as Sean Bernabe. He's just as guilty as James Eisenhower, right? Giving unlawful orders to renovate the arms room without any expenses spared, right? So, Curtis Taylor, uh, right? We are undergoing propaganda retaliation right now, 5.5 years later. And this has been ongoing by members of the 978th, isn't it? The 978th. Um, Let me make sure I get that right. I want to make sure I get that right. Yeah, 970, 978 company right there on Fort Bliss. Now, the problem with that is that is a crime against President Trump, the commander in chief. So yes, they're interfering with our investigation, absolutely. Um, but they are going against President Trump and the Department of the Army. The Department of the Army is the one with the board of inquiry that had, oh my gosh, so much evidence that they uh, had to, even without Richard's remains, declare him in the line of duty, right? Declare him deceased and in the line of duty. And President Trump then backed that up with uh, unfailing, unfailing loyalty to Richard's duty. He did his duty with unbelievable courage, in service to our country, our national security. That his name is indelible, worthy of all respect from the entire nation. That's from memory. And it just is the American spirit. He said Richard was the American spirit, right? It's for the MPs to continue to engage in this propaganda attack is mutinous. It is absolutely mutinous. And it absolutely goes against the UCMJ. We checked that all out, because that's been filed. All of those have been filed, and there's many of them. And so Curtis Taylor, the commander of Fort Bliss, um, he's just as guilty as Sean Bernabe. I mean, this is really, why would they want to interfere in the investigation of Richard? Why would they want to interfere in the negotiations for the repatriation of Richard's remains? They are protecting the big criminal organization, the trafficking, the access to children, the organ harvesting business. They are protecting that. And that's why it's the same. It just seems like always the same group, with those same um, common denominators. And that's why, they're having a hard time, because the common denominators are out. People are aware of them. We look for them, and they're very obvious. So, wow, wow. I just want to thank everybody for that. And I want to thank Candace Owens and Mitch Snow and Stu Peters, um, for, pursuing justice. And we're very, very grateful for all of the intel people, the special forces, all of this information that's coming in. We also have the information about Claudia Scheinbaum. I almost forgot to tell you that Claudia Scheinbaum, uh, it looks like she's on the way out. Okay, and we've been pretty right about, just like, our sources are very good, very good. Um, because we've been, I don't want to let too much out. That is, I don't want to hurt the sources, but uh, Scheinbaum, maybe she should take up knitting or something. Um, I think she's on the way out. On the way out. And maybe she's relieved. I would be relieved. I mean, this is so, just takes your life, right? Just takes your life. Um, so, but I think she's on her way out. And I'll tell you who is on their way in. Um, so this was given to us, and I posted it up, and I got the best picture. Well, maybe it's not the best picture. It was very quick. I took it very quick, um, of this Omar Garcia Harfuch. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he is a security secretary, I believe. Um, and he seems to be the guy that is going to challenge Claudia Scheinbaum. And he's there with the military. So the military seems to be supporting him. We're getting information that the military is supporting him. And so that is, I think that the people of Mexico are sick and tired of being governed by the cartels, because that means they're being governed by predators, that they're being governed by violent people, that they're being governed by poisoners, imposters, scammers, um, thieves, thieves. So I think that they're very tired of it, very tired of it, and yeah. So it's going to be very interesting what happens. Uh, you know, um, it's just time to get on um, all those prayer chains and pray, 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 so that this will go the right way for the people, by the people, of the people, and that the criminals will be held accountable, and that it will lead to Richard's remains being. So we're here, and of course, to let everyone know, he told cautions, and one of those is to come on every night to let everyone know that we're here, that we're here, and that has been a great security measure for us, and we're very, very grateful for everyone coming on and giving us their time. And please share, 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 because we're making a difference. We're making a huge difference. There's so much positive going on. I mean, you've got the Air Force flying surveillance, reconnaissance surveillance over Mexico right now, you know. And Mexico, you have to remember, Mexico is not uh, a sovereign nation. It is captured by the cartel. So, and 100% they're captured by the cartel. There's no doubt in my mind. We've got all the hard evidence. And so, this is a very good thing that something is being done about this. So, just pray that the right people are in the right places. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.